Alright, let's talk about something that's been buzzing lately. The Simpsons might be ending, and millennials think they know why. But here's the thing, this isn't just about a show wrapping up after 38 seasons. It's about a cultural phenomenon that's been running since 1989, and the fact that its potential end is sparking such strong reactions says a lot about where we are as a society. Personally, I think this conversation goes way beyond just The Simpsons. It's about nostalgia, relevance, and the evolving relationship between media and its audience. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. Nancy Cartwright, the voice of Bart Simpson, recently hinted that the show might end after season 40. Now, this isn't just some random speculation. Nancy has been with the show since its inception. When she says something like this, it carries weight. But what's really interesting is the timing. Season 40 aligns perfectly with the end of Fox's current broadcasting deal. Coincidence? Maybe. But it raises a deeper question. Is The Simpsons ending because the network wants it to, or because the show itself has run its course? Here's where things get fascinating. Millennials, who grew up with The Simpsons as a cultural touchstone, are pointing out something that's been nagging at the back of our minds for years. Homer Simpson is now technically a millennial. Think about that for a second. The guy who was once the epitome of a lazy, uneducated boomer is now part of a generation struggling with student debt, skyrocketing housing costs, and the gig economy. What many people don't realize is that this shift completely changes the dynamic of the show. Homer's lifestyle, a big house, a stay-at-home wife, 3 kids, feels almost unattainable for most millennials today. And that's where the relatability starts to crumble. In my opinion, this is why so many people feel The Simpsons lost its edge in the early 2000s. The show's timelessness, which was once its strength, is now its weakness. Springfield hasn't changed, but the world has. When the show started, a single-income family could afford a middle-class lifestyle. Today? Not so much. If you take a step back and think about it, The Simpsons was always a caricature of American life, but that caricature is starting to feel outdated. And that's not a knock on the show, it's just the reality of time marching on. But here's the thing, The Simpsons has always been self-aware. It's played with its own timeline, bending reality to fit its narrative. Homer's age has been inconsistent, and the show has never shied away from meta humor. So is this millennial critique something the creators overlooked, or is it a deliberate choice to keep the show in a bubble? Personally, I think it's a bit of both. The show's refusal to age its characters in real time was a creative decision, but it's also become a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's allowed The Simpsons to remain a cultural constant. On the other, it's made it harder for new generations to connect. What this really suggests is that The Simpsons isn't just a show, it's a mirror reflecting the values and struggles of the time it was created. And as those values shift, the reflection starts to distort. Millennials aren't just saying The Simpsons is outdated, they're saying it no longer speaks to their reality. And that's a powerful statement. Now, let's talk about Disney. Since acquiring 21st Century Fox, Disney has had full control over The Simpsons. If Fox decides not to renew its broadcasting rights beyond season 40, Disney could move the show to Disney Plus or even reboot it in some form. But here's the catch, The Simpsons without Fox, without its original creative team, wouldn't feel like The Simpsons. It's like trying to recreate a classic recipe with different ingredients. It might taste familiar, but something would be off. A detail I find fascinating is how Disney might handle the show's legacy. With the rise of social media, The Simpsons has already become a meme machine. Could Disney lean into that, keeping the characters alive through fan-made content? It's not out of the question, especially considering their recent TikTok deal. But would that be enough to satisfy die-hard fans? I'm not so sure. Ultimately, the question of whether The Simpsons should end isn't just about ratings or broadcasting deals. It's about whether the show still has something meaningful to say. From my perspective, The Simpsons has always been more than just a sitcom, it's been a cultural barometer. And if it's no longer resonating with the audience it once did, maybe it's time to let it go. But here's the thing, even if it ends, its impact won't. The Simpsons has left an indelible mark on pop culture, and that's something no amount of time can erase. So, what do you think? Is it time for The Simpsons to call it a day, or does it still have stories left to tell? Let me know in the comments. And if you take a step back and think about it, this conversation isn't just about a TV show, it's about how we as a society decide when something has outlived its purpose. And that, my friends, is a question worth exploring.